Thank you, Alex. Alex said he was a student, or teacher of pasta earlier on, and we have a teacher of yoga, and I am a student of pasta, definitely. But I'm a very laid-back kind of guy. I'm relaxed. I take things as they come, but sometimes I get stressed. I get very tense, I get stressed, and then it gets worse, and I have a crisis, leave me alone, I'm having a crisis, and that's the way I go, yeah? But there's a lot of crises around. Back in the day, we used to have one crisis at a time. Sometimes it would go on for years and years, an oil crisis lasted for years and years, but now we've got all kinds of crises all together. We've got financial crisis, we've got migrant crisis, we've got all kinds of crises. Last week in the paper it said we had a front garden crisis. A front garden crisis. So what the fuck is that? Apparently it's something to do with the birds and not having enough room to build their nests. I thought front garden crisis for me is when somebody opens the front door when I'm having a piss behind the hedge. That is a front garden crisis. But the real crisis that people have in their own lives is often a midlife crisis. And it's when a man of a certain age, he starts buying Harley Davidsons, taking drugs, going off with younger women. Keith Richards never had a midlife crisis. Well, maybe he did, but how would you know? But then a midlife crisis is just when somebody changes their habits, and it's kind of disapproving. So a guy buys a red sports car, runs away with his secretary, midlife crisis. Guy joins the church, gets married, has children, he's settling down. That's not a crisis, but that's another kind of change. But why don't we call that one a crisis? But it is, you know. It's just a change that happens in his life. But yeah. So I never had a midlife crisis. I worked in an office, didn't have a life. So how could I have a midlife crisis? But then I gave up working in the office and I started teaching foreign students. That was really frustrating because the students were great, but the English language, teaching English to foreign students. Like one of my best students, he's in the pub, he's having a huge argument with somebody, and he says to them, "You think I know fucking nothing, but I know fuck all." And then you have to tell him, no, fuck all means nothing, okay? And he's going, "Oh, well, yeah, but fuck yeah. It's definitely yeah. Fuck yeah." Now I say, it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. And after about 10 minutes arguing with him, I say to him, "Look, you can't use the word fuck in your exam anyway, so just forget about it. And it's a swear word. You can't use it in the exam." And he says, "A swear word? Oh yeah, like when you swear to tell the truth in the court." I just said to him, "Oh, fuck off." But yeah, so the midlife crisis happens halfway through your life. It's like you have a half-time in a football match. Well, John, he started well, the usual sort of falling around the place, being sick everywhere and sucking on tits, and now he's grown up and he's finally made it with the women. I never thought he'd do that, but a late start, but he went down the wing and he scored. Yeah, very quick finish. But he can work on that. I'm sure he'll work on that. Yes, there was a little bit of handling there towards the end. That's what brought on the late finish, the quick finish. But yes, and his technique is improving. His technique is definitely improving. He's getting much better with heading. His heading is definitely improving. Yeah. Right, getting older, maturing. It's got to do with smell, hasn't it? Because everybody loves the smell of a newborn baby. You pick up a baby and smell his or her head, and it's a lovely smell. An old person, not so much. It's like a cheese. The more mature a cheese is, the more smelly it is. So there is some cheese, of course, doesn't mature. It it just hangs around the bell end and just stays there. Yeah, well, that's something that happens, isn't it? But yeah, well, when I was younger, there wasn't such a thing as a midlife crisis. We just got on with it, you know. We just got on with it. And right, what's the next bit of this? What's the next bit in this? I've forgotten. So we do the mature cheese, and then we talk about affairs. People have affairs when they have a midlife crisis, and that's something. I was thinking about the announcements. Also, I was thinking about the announcements on TFL. If you see anything suspicious, please report it to a member of staff or a police officer. And I did. I came home early. There's my wife, my best friend, sitting on the sofa, out of breath. He was wearing her t-shirt. They said they'd been playing table tennis. We don't have a table tennis table. They tell me, that's not suspicious. That's not suspicious, he says. Well, do you feel safer on the tube now? If they think that's not suspicious. I mean, come on. But yeah, so I really should wear my glasses the whole time during this act, because what's the next bit? What's the next bit?
I'll hold your mic for you.
It's seeing the thing. That's the problem, and remembering which pocket I put the glasses in. That's the other problem. But yes, you see, this is why we have a midlife crisis. We're supposed to get over this kind of thing. But students, poor students today, when you see them buying drink, you guys are going to be having a midlife crisis by the time that drink is paid for. With your, I'm from the days when we had grants. They just gave us the money, and that was it. But we didn't have to pay it back. That was amazing. But yeah, so anyway, the second half is beginning now, and we'll go back to the commentary. Well, here he is. He's coming down. He's right, John. He's going into the Harley Davidson showroom, and he's bought a red Harley Davidson. Yes, it's definitely a midlife crisis. The midlife crisis is underway, and yes. She's throwing all his clothes into the front garden. It's a front garden crisis, John. It's definitely a front garden crisis here. And now, she's taken the house. He's lost the house. It's a financial crisis. Everything's happening all at once. There's nothing left. It's a 4-minute warning. Good night. I'm Gerry Carroll. Thank you very much.
Impressive! Ladies and gentlemen.